Today we're here with Craig Cotton with Cisco, and I'd like to welcome you to Security Interviews, Craig.
Thanks, David. Nice to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thanks for taking the time. Well, to get started, can you tell us a little bit how you got started in physical security and what brought you to Cisco?
Well, interestingly enough, I've only been in the physical security group here for about 7 months. I came to Cisco over 12 years ago from the voice industry and unified communication space. And I was part of the initial voice group that grew from $7 million to about $2.5 billion inside of Cisco over a 10-year period as customers have moved more and more to IP voice. So we started investing in physical security about 3 years ago at Cisco, and it hasn't reached this $2.5 billion plateau yet, but we see it heading there. So the ability to go again 10 years later, start with a smaller business inside of Cisco and grow it to a very large multi-billion-dollar business is what attracted me to come to the physical security space. Plus, it's an interesting time, I think, for the industry with the migration to IP off of analog, getting rid of tapes, moving all to digital storage, and then starting to look at more of the advanced analytics and some of the other capabilities that are in the market. I think it's an exciting time to be here. And we think that it's really very analogous for us to the voice business. It's a large global market in a transition from analog to digital to IP. And just like we went from 0% market share in the voice space to the market leader, we're hoping to do the same thing in the security
Sounds
space.
very interesting, Craig. Now, what's your role within Cisco?
So I'm the Senior Director of Product Marketing in the Physical Security Business Unit. The Physical Security Business Unit is part of our Emerging Technologies group at Cisco, and I run all of the product management for our IP video surveillance, IP access control, our IPICS, which is our incident response and notification product and radio interrupt product, as well as our IP camera line of standard def and high definition cameras. So I work with the customers and our channel partners to find out what are the features that customers need next to solve their business problems.
Well, speaking of business problems, how's Cisco been involved in the physical security and loss prevention space at all?
So retail has long been one of the key verticals for surveillance, and Cisco is generally not the specialist in these areas. We're the generalist, and we're providing the networks and increasingly providing the physical security equipment, and then we partner with the industry specialists that are the experts in the particular vertical markets, whether it's finance, manufacturing, public sector, education. In retail, we're partnering with some of the leaders there, such as Agilence, that provides I think it's called their Hawkeye system, that does a lot of the point of sale integration with video. And what's quite exciting about these solutions is they're solving business problems. They've got a retail grocery chain they told me about recently that their warehouse said they had 80,000 cases of water, of spring water in the warehouse, and visual inspection showed 35,000 cases.
Wow.
And they turned to Agilence and said, what's going on here? And they turned to the video and very quickly saw that there was no fraud actually going on. It was the checkers were checking out the cases of water. Their barcode scanner system was picking up the barcode on an individual bottle of water and charging 79 cents instead of $6.99 for the case. And it led to it was $150,000 loss for the retailer. And the resolution, of course, was they went to their manufacturer and they got an opaque plastic surrounding that doesn't read these barcodes, and the problem went away. So I think the technology in retail can do some fantastic things for customers and really provide value and pay back for those investments in that space.
Well, it's very interesting. You talk about the retail space. What are some of the other spaces that you're in that you found some success within Cisco?
We're having a lot of space in the public sector. We've got a part of our sales organization that we call SLED, which is state local education, and the education being K through 12 and higher ed. So that's really been a key focus area for us. And through a lot of the Department of Homeland Security funding for different organizations, somebody like the Oakland Unified School District was able to get a Save Our Schools grant, something along the lines of $1.5 million that they were able to get, and installed a Cisco video surveillance system in all of their middle and high schools in the district. So that's been a very active vertical market for us as well. And then things like retail banking, a lot of them have in their branches have cameras. A lot of them have analog cameras. So Cisco built a module for our routers, and we're fortunate to have greater than 90% market share in those branch office routers. So we can now go to a banking customer, for example, and say we've got a card you could slide right into your Cisco router and plug those analog cameras directly into this card. And now from any place on your IP network anywhere in the world, you can have access to those analog cameras at that branch just by plugging them into the box that you've already got sitting in that branch already. So for a lot of customers, the value proposition to reuse the branch office router that they've got, connecting all of their data and all of their file transfers and running all of their banking systems, can now be turned into their video surveillance system as well.
Well, it's very interesting, Craig, and you've certainly hit on a very hot topic in today's trends, and that's utilizing existing infrastructure and how do you leverage that infrastructure to be more efficient, more cost effective with moving towards a new solution and better utilizing what you already have installed. So that's a very good example. Well, speaking of that, we've talked about some of the successes, of course. What are the biggest challenges that are in physical security facing us and Cisco security?
I think some of the challenges are the fact that a lot of customers don't want to do a flash cut or a wholesale replacement of a system, so it becomes a little bit more complex to be able to migrate and utilize existing cameras or existing assets and needing to encode them. The fact that where I came from in the voice world, everything was completely integrated in the stack. So everybody made the software and all the hardware. And in the video space here, you've got a lot of camera companies that just make cameras and a lot of video management companies that just make the video management. And I know the standards are emerging, and they're welcomed. Certainly Cisco welcomes them. I think the customers do as well. But without those standards, with different proprietary systems and with vendors making only video management and only camera vendors, I think it leads to a more complex integration environment, a more difficult troubleshooting environment. That's why we've decided to sell a full suite of connected physical security solutions, from the management to the cameras to the access control to the and that provides the threat detection and threat management. And then we go further and do the threat response, which is our iPICs that can do dispatch, emergency dispatch, and show video, for example, surveillance video to a first responder on the way to a scene to an iPhone is something that we're shipping today. It's on the iTunes store. So I think by moving to more standards, open-based systems, as the PSA and ONVIF standards mature in the industry, that should, I think, help the industry out quite a bit and provide a more open standards-based solution that will make interoperability easier. So today, I think that's the biggest thing. Is it can be a complex world out there when you kind of try to connect all these pieces together, which is why, in the absence of some of these standards that are emerging and that we're excited about, we've decided to focus on more of a solutions approach than a point product approach by having this full suite of products.
Well, you mentioned ONVIF. Is that something that Cisco endorses and is moving towards also?
Well, we sit on these boards for both PSAA and ONVIF. We're active with both of them and planning developments for both of them. Sorry, my PC just timed out. And then, look, if they both flourish for the next 20 years, that's great. If we have a VHS and Betamax in our midst, that's fine. We'll get behind whatever wins, and if both are out there, then we'll likely maintain support for both of them.
Well, it's great that you're able to maintain that agility.